Hi everyone, welcome to the 30th day of our 60 days video series on statistics for data science. As you know, in this series, we have covered our first type of statistical analysis, that is descriptive statistical analysis. From last two videos, we have started our second type of statistical analysis, which is statistical inference, guys. Now, if you are new to this channel, I would suggest please go and watch those two videos first, and then you can follow this particular video because that will help you to understand every topic we are going to learn from today's session, guys. Okay. So now again, if you are new to this channel, please subscribe the channel and hit the bell icon so that you do not miss out any of the video I am going to upload in this series. Okay. So before going into all the concepts of statistical inference, guys, we need to understand few prerequisites, right? And one of the very critical topic which we need to understand is probability distributions, right? You might have heard about different distributions like normal distribution, t distribution, binomial distribution, Poisson distribution, geometry distributions. There are a lot of distributions out there. Now all these topics we are going to cover as a prerequisite of our statistical inference. So from now onwards, in our upcoming 7 to 8 videos, guys, we are going to learn about the prerequisites, and these prerequisites will help you throughout the series. So don't miss out any of this video, right? So let's get started with our today's video, guys, in which we are going to understand what is random variable, what are the different type of random variables, and we will understand this topic using different industrial examples. So let's move to the screen, guys. Random variables. You might have heard about this term, guys, in a lot of domain. Like if you are coming from the programming perspective, then we have variables over there, right, in which we store some values. Similarly, in mathematics also, we store some values in the variable. Now, when we talk about random variables, right? So first of all, let's understand what is variable. Variable is a symbol that can take on any of a specified set of values, right? It can take any value. That's we call it as variable. Now, when we talk about variable in terms of statistics, so statistics, when the value of a variable is the outcome of a statistical experiment. So this is the most important part over here. Outcome of statistical experiment, that variable which is taking these outcomes or storing those values, we call it as random variable. Now, what is statistical experiment, guys? Statistical experiment is any experiment whose outcome is not fixed. It can take any value. Let's say flipping a coin, coming head or tail. Output is not fixed, right? So that's statistical experiment. Getting return out of stock, that is also not fixed. So it can take any value. That percentage can vary from 0 to 100%, 200%, any value, right? So that's why it's also a statistical experiment. Throw a dice, that's also a experiment, statistical experiment, because the outcome is not fixed. So any experiment, statistical experiment, the output of that experiment you are storing in a variable. That variable we call it as random variable in terms of statistics. Right, guys? I hope this definition is clear. Now let's understand this using different examples we have, like few of them I have mentioned. Lot of time you will get this simple example, flipping a coin, coming head as, let's say, 1, coming tail as 0, right? So that's a statistical experiment. And when the output you are storing as a variable, the outcomes you are storing as a variable, that variable we call it as random variable, right? Now, if we talk about from the real world perspective, there are a lot of variables we actually talk in our day-to-day basis. So let's take few examples. So first, return on an investment in a 1-year period. That number can be any number, guys, right? That's not fixed. So that's why it's a statistical experiment. Now, the price of an equity at closing time, it can be daily closing time, or it can be weekly closing time, or monthly, or it can be yearly, quarterly, whatever your time window is. But the price of an equity or price of a share of a company, that is also not fixed, and that's a statistical experiment, right? There is a probability assigned to every value, which we'll talk about later. Now, number of customers entering a store every day. Let's say you have a store, or you can talk about Amazon, or you can talk about Flipkart. They have fixed number of customers coming, but that number can vary every day, right? So that's a statistical experiment, right? So it is also a random variable. This is also a random variable, random variable, random variable. Now the sales volume of a store on a particular day, how many products will get sold on a particular day, that's also a statistical experiment, right? These are common terms we actually use every day, and these are nothing but part of our statistics, guys. They are random variables which we uh, explain using different distributions. We are going to learn about them in our upcoming videos. The churn rate at your organization next year, this is very critical part of statistical analysis, guys. A lot of companies are working on this. So churn rate, employees churn rate. Churn rate means, churn basically means when your employee leaves the company. That's basically we call it as churn or attrition, right? So churn rate at the organization, that's a big problem for a lot of companies like Infosys, TCS, or these consultancies company, right? So they deal with this churn rate. Similarly, there are like customer based products company, like let's say talk about JFL, Jubilant Foodworks, they have master franchisee of Domino's. So the churn rate of the customers, that also relevant for the product based companies, right? Similarly for Z as well, for Netflix, like how many customers are not coming back to the Netflix or G5, that's also a churn rate, right? And this is a very common type of analysis we do in such companies, guys, product based companies. How many likes I will get on this particular video, that's also a statistical experiment, and it's a random variable, right? The number can vary between 1 to like any number up to crore, right? Or even more than that, but it's a random variable, right? So now I hope you understood that when the outcome of your experiment is not fixed, that particular outcome, when you are storing in a variable, that we call it as a random variable, right? I hope this is clear. Now there are two type of random variables which are present in the world, right? One is discrete random variable and another one is continuous random variable, and that depends on what type of values they are actually storing. Okay, so discrete, from the name itself, it's, I hope this is clear, that discrete, some countable numbers of possible values we have in the random variable, right? So let's take an example of how many people will enter into a store or how many products will get sold. That will take some countable numbers, right? That will not take any decimal number or something like that. So that is why that will belong to the discrete random variable. Okay, so discrete random variable, one that takes on a countable number of possible values, guys. That's a discrete random variable. Now the examples are number of likes on this particular video. That will be 1, 2, 3, 4. It cannot be 4.5, right? Similarly, second example, customers will order Domino's tomorrow. How many customers will come to the Domino's tomorrow? That's also a fixed number. It cannot be a decimal values. Dice outcome between 1 to 6, right? Innings need to be played before KL Rahul hits the century. Practical example, guys. How many innings? That will also be a discrete random variable because it will take discrete number, or you can say integer number, positive integer, 1, 2, 3, 4. How many innings? That depends, right? I don't think so. That will soon happening, right? So now the second type, continuous random variable. Here the numbers or the values are continuous. Now one that takes on an uncountable number of possible values. You cannot count the possible values, and generally this happens when you have the decimal values, like say return on investment. That number can be 3.5% return, 4.5% return, 4.55% return, right? So that is why it's a continuous random variable. Average height of a person born on 26 June. It's an experiment, statistical experiment. You have to get the population of all the people who born on 26th of June, and then you have to take the height of average out the height of them, right? So, but that number can be in decimal, so that's why it's a continuous random variable. Equity price, that also can vary in decimal. Tomorrow's temperature, that also a continuous random variable, guys. So there are a lot of examples we have seen for the continuous random variable as well as discrete random variable. I hope this particular point is clear, guys. Now, one question for you. This is what I planned for today's session, today's video. Now, one question for you guys. Please write it in the comment section. What will be the answer of this? And this is very tricky, guys. Okay, so read the question twice and then answer it in the comment section. Which of the following is a discrete random variable? Now, this will help you to clarify all your doubts related to this particular topic. And this is what I am planning from now onwards. In every video, you will have 1 or 2 questions at the end so that you can revise all your topics you have covered in this video. So now, what is which of the following is a discrete random variable? First, the average height of a randomly selected group of boys. Okay. Second, the annual number of sweepstakes winners from the New York City. And the third one is number of presidential elections in the 20th century. Right? So now, in general, these are the different variables. Now you have to tell me which one is discrete random variable. If there are 5 options, you have to tell me which option is the correct one. Okay? So just write the answer in the comment section, and definitely in the next video, if I will find a lot of answers are not coming right, then I'll explain that. Okay, in the tomorrow's video. So that's it for this particular video, guys. So I hope this is helpful and your learning is getting fun, because I know statistics, a lot of people feel very boring. But I hope this is now making interesting for you. So thank you. Thanks for watching till the end. Request, please like the video if you are liking the content. Comment whatever doubt you have and share with your friends so that they get to know and they get help from this kind of video series. Right? So thank you, guys. Bye-bye. Take care and keep learning.